Okay, good morning everybody. Let's see if I can, I'm just doing my morning routine here. And what I'm gonna start with first is I always start with the clean water. So what I do, this is actually the best way to clean water. When I say clean water, I'm talking about parasites, viruses, bacteria. And by the way, I'm not making any medical claims. It's literally just my opinion, my advice. But this is, just look up the science on it. I've shown some lab tests on this. You have to basically distill your water, but I'm filling up the distiller with reverse osmosis water because you have to basically do both unless you have what's called the carbon distiller where you do the carbon and the distillation. Then you can get everything out. So that's how I start my day. I always start by doing that first. I guess maybe I can show you guys too. If the angle will be right. But I have to what I would call harvest. Actually, by the way, hear me? I got an earpiece and I just woke up and I don't know if it's actually catching. Wow, thanks for the thumbs up. I think they're just giving thumbs up already this morning. All right, so I am, if you can hear me, I'm harvesting my water because I let the distiller run. It takes between 3 to 6 hours really to make 1 gallon of the cleanest water basically known to man. And this is the only kind of water you can use in certain situations where safety is a big thing. Like for example, neti pots. Water that you're gonna run through your sinuses. That lets you know how important it is to have clean water. And in my opinion, again, no medical advice, but in my opinion, for my type of protocols, you basically really want the cleanest water there is because there's just too many things in our water that in my opinion literally can cause us harm. Okay, this thing is almost full. And you guys may see I'm kind of a, I don't know, weird guy, I guess you could say. You're gonna notice I have this bulge here. It's actually a, I got a heat pack. I like heat on my stomach in the morning. It just keeps me warm. Feels kind of good. Yeah, the heat pack. All right, so let's see here. All right, we got that going. All right, so that's how I kind of start my day. Well, actually, that's not true. I woke up. I don't turn on the camera first thing in the morning, so I did wake up and have my hydrogen water. Made sure that it was obviously made properly, very clean, and then I drank. Personally, I drank 1 liter. That's for me. For what other, other people, it just depends on what you got going on and how you'd use the hydrogen. As you guys probably already know, I will only use the cleanest, especially after what a doctor who is a hydrogen specialist in Japan says. He says, like, he doesn't recommend hydrogen pills, cheap little hydrogen bottles. He says, in his opinion, it's too important the purity because hydrogen goes past the blood-brain barrier. So he literally uses the same exact machine I do, actually. That's the other one he says he recommends too. To his patients, and that's, but you don't get to see that part of my protocol. Here, I'm going to plug my phone in because it's about to die. You don't get to see that part of my protocol because, well, sorry, I'm going to plug in my phone here. Because I don't turn on the camera at that point, in the mornings. You just kind of wake it up and brush my teeth and wash my face, stuff like that. I'm sure you guys know the routine. Okay, let's see where we're at here. No questions? Okay, well, this is, just so you know, this is your time to ask questions. People always have them. I get a lot of emails. But this is my morning routine. This is my protocol. Part of the video is also about, and I'll touch more on it after the smoothie is done being made, because basically I'm going to show you guys how to, it's becoming a popular thing. I've been doing it for a long time already. People are starting to talk about nitric oxide. And when I say nitric, I'm talking nitric oxide, not nitrous oxide. Why? Well, because of the obvious health benefits that come from nitric oxide. That's why this whole protocol that I have, a lot of people don't understand. I don't think this is going to work as often. I don't think people truly understand the benefits of what I'm about to make right here. And I'm going to make it in front of everybody. Why am I going to do that? Well, because that's what I do every morning anyway. So, okay, the first ingredient that's actually extremely important is this one, Power Shake. This is actually from a website called ishoppurium.com. And actually, if you want a discount code, you can use the code uprising144K, help support the channel. But why is this important? Because this is basically my multivitamin and multi-nutrient. Now the key, and this is something that apparently, I don't know why people don't realize this yet. The key, and I just talked to somebody actually yesterday, but I've talked to many people who have had issues with their nutrient levels. And that particular person was on a high carnivore diet. And I know a lot of people get really weird about diet stuff, and people just need to chill out. I'm not saying that meat is bad. I'm just telling you the data and what happened to more than one person. And basically, they were having trouble with nutrient absorption. Well, what people don't realize, and this is true, when I say don't realize, there's just people don't realize it yet. Even supposed health gurus, like nobody is noticing this yet. By the way, this is turmeric. And then we're going to go down the list after we're all done with all these ingredients. I'll pull up my, did I bring my computer up? Oh, I didn't bring my computer, but I can go grab it. I can show you how almost every single one of these ingredients are either anti-parasitic, anti-cancerous, anti-inflammatory, and also help the body produce nitric oxide, which opens up blood vessels even more. It's all about blood flow, guys. Blood flow and the nutrients in the blood. This is just raw cacao powder, organic. Just, it gives it a little flavor, it gives it some minerals, and again, really good health benefits in regards to that. And this was just a gift from somebody that actually has some decent nutrients, but more than anything, it's the minerals that I'm using this one for. Though minerals are, again, in fruits and vegetables, but you need to add more because they're deficient in my opinion. And the thing about nutrient absorption is, and again, people are going to start realizing this as we go into the future. Just watch, I'm calling it already, but I've done this before. I'll call things like years beforehand, and nobody notices. But I'm telling you right now, what people are going to start realizing is how important fiber is. There's even some preliminary research, kind of implying, by the way, that fiber might literally be more important than protein, which is pretty wild because everybody always is like, no, protein, everything's about protein. Everybody goes bonkers for protein. So, and look, protein's important. In fact, what I would personally focus on is not so much focusing on just one thing, which is what everybody seems to do, though. Like, especially companies that try to sell products like, oh, you know how important this one vitamin is or this one nutrient is. I'm completely on a completely difference of opinion. Well, thanks for the thumbs up. I just saw you guys gave a bunch there too. My difference of opinion is actually quite simple. My motto is, let's just not have any nutritional deficiencies and mineral deficiencies, because deficiencies lead to disease. And I would say, you know, in my opinion is what I'll say, but what I'll tell you is just look at the data. I mean, one of my, like the most common example is just being deficient, for example, in vitamin C. Vitamin C deficiency is scurvy, and there's numerous conditions like that. And so that's when I realized, I'm like, you know, it's important to overcome all nutritional deficiencies. So that's what we're gonna, and you know, that's why I make this. And a lot of people don't believe that it's possible to do that. Especially with the quote-unquote kind of way that I eat. These help produce a lot of nitric oxide in the body too. These are super greens, chard, spinach, baby kale. And a lot of people, this is another common thing that I get, they're like, well, what about oxalates? Yeah, you know, it's funny that you could literally try to attack and find something negative in basically every food. Now, I don't know if I should really share why I do this, because the real story is kind of, to be quite honest with you, like totally bonkers insane. Because I was very confused myself. In fact, I just spoke to somebody the other day who was like, I'm so confused about the diet thing. Everybody was always saying, eat this, eat that. You know, and everybody's has a difference of opinion. Some say you should eat nothing but meat. Some people say nothing but vegetables. Some people say nothing but fruit. Some people say only raw foods. Like everybody's so, and it's weird how upset people get about it. I'm totally cool. Like I'm not gonna flip out because somebody wants to eat cheeseburgers or beef all day long. It doesn't bother me. I don't care. We're all the ones living in our body, and I've tried numerous different diets, but there is a reason that I eventually made a specific choice. For me, though, remember, for me, doesn't mean everybody has to do what I do at all. Though I am quite data driven, my decisions have been made on a combination of things, and they all basically lined up and converged into something that, to me, became a very clear way of thinking. But I actually think that you can eat healthy. I should probably post this. There is a way of eating healthy, almost regardless of what type of diet you eat. And I think I'm making a video of that because I think that would shed a lot of light for a lot of people. And you could technically eat nothing but meat or nothing but vegetables and do it the wrong way, actually. And the trick is, it has to do with freshness. The fresher the food, the better it's going to be. There is actual data that when food is not very fresh, forget processed food, by the way, because that's clearly not fresh. It has to be very, very fresh food. And it has to do with literally certain endotoxins in the food. Basically type of like bacteria that grows in food that wreaks havoc on our body and our immune system and causes inflammation. Everything needs to be extremely fresh. So whether you're going to have, you know, beef with vegetables or a vegetarian meal, whatever, the important part is actually that it's fresh and that it's clean. You know, so when I say clean, you know, try to minimize the pesticides in the foods and just try to do it as clean and as fresh as possible. I think that is probably more important to focus on. Now, granted, when people have certain conditions, everything kind of changes a little bit because I have definitely different protocols, and depending on the person and what they're going through and things of that nature. So let's see, somebody has a question. Inhalation, is it an issue to shut down the Hydrofix, then restart in the morning to use that water to drink? Well, let me see if I'm understanding your question. So what you're saying is, let's say you're doing inhalation, I don't know, at nighttime. And then after you're done, you shut down the machine, but you leave the water in the pitcher, is my understanding. And then you wake up in the morning and you want to know if you can fire up the machine to fill that water again with hydrogen and drink that water. If that's the question, the simple answer, in my opinion, of course you can do that. No problem. That water is not bad just because hydrogen is run through it. So, totally good. Okay. And we'll go ahead and wash these guys. So, I mean, again, this is my morning routine. I know, again, well, I will say this. I know a lot of people disagree with it, but I will say this. I've known numerous people who have actually tried it, and literally they're just absolutely love it. I mean, they're just like, because of, well, people don't realize, that's one of the most important things that I really don't think people realize. And, I really should go and look for the data. I hate looking up, I mean, I'll read a lot of data, but I don't try to like save it and keep it in a file or remember the link so that people will, you know, because people always ask me like, oh, you know, I want to see the data. There is data on the amount of fiber that the human body actually requires. It's unbelievable, then. And when I say unbelievable, like, and nobody's talking about it, or I would say almost nobody, it's really wild. I'm quite surprised how much fiber the body needs. Now, I never consumed enough fiber. And then when I started creating this protocol, I actually created it because there's research in Japan, and the research is phenomenal. It's not only phenomenal, it literally caused the Japanese to have to dig more because of the results in order to try to understand what the heck the human body was doing, because they saw great results in regards to fiber, but they couldn't understand why it was doing certain things that literally seemed, dare I say, kind of miraculous, like regulating blood glucose. That was one of the first ones. There was a study where if you eat vegetables first thing in the morning, which who does that? I drink all my hydrogen water this morning, but the next thing I'm going to do is, you know, I don't normally consume vegetables, at least back in the day. And I was like, well, how am I going to consume vegetables in the morning? Because regulating blood glucose all day long is super important. And that was just the beginning of this journey. The more research that comes out on fiber from Japan, and they're light years ahead of us, guys. Sorry to tell you, but they're like, when it comes to like understanding like diet and the research primarily, they're really, I mean, there's a reason they live so long, by the way. It's not just an accident. Okay, here, you know what, let's see. It says, yes, that was the question, thanks. Oh, you're welcome. So this whole thing about fiber is huge, and you know what's weird about it? Not to be too conspiratorial or, you know, like a conspiracy theorist or anything. They did this research a long time ago, and then as far as how much fiber the human body requires. Research was done a long time ago, and it was actually done in the U.S. This particular research that I saw, and they literally, again, not to be like a conspiracy theorist, they didn't want to tell the public. According to the story, that the reason they didn't want to tell the public is because they're like, well, nobody will be able to eat that much fiber. We can't go. It's almost like we can't go and tell people, hey, you know, you have to eat this much of whatever, fiber or vegetables or whatever, if they don't think that they can actually achieve it. Now, that's not the way I think. I'm thinking, you know what? Tell me what is best according to the data, and let me figure it out. And if I'm not getting the proper levels, then that's on me. But the research showed, again, the amount of fiber that our body apparently needs is like ridiculous. Like, I mean, I'll just say like stupid ridiculous. Like, it's such a large amount. And the thing is, some people might say that there are already some medical professionals in certain fields that are realizing this, and they're like, yeah, well, you know what? Just supplement. Well, that's not what the Japanese said. The Japanese found out in America, this has not been discovered by America yet, that all the fiber, depending on which fruit, vegetable, nuts, seeds, you know, beans, whatever, every single fiber is actually a little different. So that means you can't just get some fiber supplement. It's just not going to be the same as what nature has literally given us. There appears to be something very unique and special about each and every fiber from every fruit and vegetable. And nut, seed, and yada, yada, yada. Okay, let's see here. Let's keep going. Justin says, hello, everyone. Okay, hello. Justin says, I'm a little late. What is he doing now? Well, I just showed people how I purify water in the mornings. Of course, I already drink my hydrogen water. That's part of the morning routine, quote unquote, protocol for me. Always get the body hydrated, and why not use the cleanest water in the world with hydrogen in it, because the research, and it just makes sense. And it quite literally makes me feel fantastic. So why in the world would I not keep doing that? That's been now my routine. I'll tell you one thing, when I get out of my routine, if I ever have to go do something or quote unquote travel somewhere or something, yeah, it always throws me off. And you know, I feel like I prepare my body for days like that, meaning prepare it by getting it as strong and healthy as possible so that I can go out into the world. And yeah, if I have to drink some tap water somewhere or bottled plastic water or whatever, then my body can tolerate it. And by the way, my body can actually tolerate quite a bit. I've done some, I don't know how much I should open up obviously about all this. I'll just say that I've done some things that are very, very hard on my body, and that's the whole reason I want to treat it the best that I can, so I can take quote unquote the abuse that I might put on it at some point in my life or whatever, for whatever reason, you know. Though I will say that my definition of abuse, oftentimes people, just the way they're living their life in general, I would say they're abusing their body. I mean, I used to think I was living a pretty good, healthy, normal life, and the truth is I was abusing my body, and I didn't even know it. You know what I mean? Like microwavable burritos, you know, frozen processed food, stuff like that, you know. The other day, a bunch of people had pizza, and yeah, I had some, which I normally would not do. It was an interesting scenario, whatever, so I won't go into the details. I'm just saying, I broke one of my rules and ate food that I wouldn't ordinarily eat. And it definitely wasn't all organic or whatever. It was not good pizza, but I ate it. And you know what? My body handled it just fine, actually. Like literally, no problems. Okay, today, normally I like to use hydrogen water. Today I'm not going to due to time constraints. And actually, normally, I also have a vacuum blender I really like to use, but I'm not going to do that today either. Mostly because I got some other things I got to do today, and I'll be setting it up soon again, and we'll be getting into that. Okay, this is actually hydrogen chia seeds. Chia seeds are extremely high in protein, minerals, fiber, every single thing in here, by the way, if you're noticing a pattern yet, has there been anything that I have put in here that doesn't have fiber? So it's all about, this is kind of the secret that nobody, well, everybody, you know, there's going to be people who disagree, and that's okay. But the secret is water and fiber. So all these things have water and fiber in them. Now, normally I would soak my raisins in water, but today I didn't do it. And to be honest, I'm putting very little in there anyway. The reason I like to put a little bit of raisins is because raisins have, obviously it's organic sun-dried raisins. They actually have a natural, it's called boron. Boron is extremely good for hormones, like testosterone. For example, there was a boron supplement that I did some videos on in ionic form, and it's honestly quite amazing. It's actually pretty impressive. I showed the link, and I showed the research. Remember, I'm a data guy, so it was all data driven. Let me see if I have any walnuts that are soaked in water. Normally I do, but the other day everything was so busy around here that I don't know if I had a chance to soak the walnuts in water. Okay. So normally I like to soak the walnuts in water too. So walnuts have been shown again in studies to be anti-cancerous. They appear to be good for the brain too. Obviously they have good protein and fats, and they are a little hard to digest, which is why I like to soak them in the water. I mean, I can totally handle it. So the other key, so I'm giving like all the little, or all the big secrets on health research. One of the keys is to get all the nutrients you possibly can in your body without straining. That's literally part of the secret, if you want to call it. So how do you get as much nutrition without straining the body? You know, that's like, I don't know, people will be like, okay, what do you mean by straining the body, you know? People don't realize that different things, there's difficulty in digestion depending on what it is that you're going to be eating. There's things that are just harder to digest than others. These are flax seeds, another thing that's been shown to be anti-cancerous. I use a lot of anti-cancerous stuff in my smoothie. Well, it's not just anti-cancerous though. Most of these ingredients are anti-parasitic. If you guys want me to show you the actual like information about almost every one of these ingredients, I guess comment. And when I'm done making this and I sit down to drink the smoothie, I can go grab my laptop and I can start pulling up every ingredient. I've done it in other videos. That's why I already know. And I've already read about it before anyway, but almost every single one of these ingredients, again, is either anti-parasitic, anti-cancerous, obviously have all really good nutrients, which is part of the key, lots of fiber, lots of water, and, oh man, looks like I need to go grocery shopping today. This can't be right. I think this is all I got left of my beets. All right, let's see if somebody else has a question. Let's see. Okay, Susan says, if one is drinking fresh spring water all day and using distilled water for the hydrogen water we drink, I'm a little confused. So you're drinking one all day, but you're drinking, I'm a little confused there already, but okay. Is it absolutely necessary to add minerals into the distilled hydrogen water? Well, in my opinion, no. There's research, so this again, back to data again, and it's kind of shocking to even myself, though I was actually doing it just pure instinct. Turns out, obviously, first of all, we get the majority of our minerals actually from food. So this smoothie right here, jam-packed with all the minerals my body basically needs. And the reason I know that is because I've had blood work to literally prove it. And I know that my blood work has astonished the people doing the blood work, especially the doctors when they see the results, because I've literally had phone calls from them, which is I was talking to somebody about that the other day. It was pretty funny, actually, because some of the reactions from the doctors, they just can't wrap their mind around sometimes what I'm doing. And anywho, you get most of your minerals from your food. Now, mineral absorption and the difference between what's called organic minerals and inorganic minerals. Organic minerals come from your food also. So you're going to get a higher quality mineral, yeah, from your actual food, even though it's deficient in minerals. You kind of know that, right? But the key is, so you want the organic minerals, you want it from your food. Don't worry so much about the water. And when you pair it with fiber, so I'll tell you about a study that I stumbled upon, and it was kind of amazing, actually. Here, this is ginger, organic ginger. The study revealed something that luckily I was already doing. I've been doing it for quite a while. But what the study revealed, and I was surprised to find that they were doing a study on basically a smoothie like I do. Like I make these smoothies. I'm surprised. There's actually quite a few studies on smoothies. And what they discovered was when you would use minerals, which is what I was doing, I actually add minerals to the smoothie, not the water. In the water, I put minerals, but honestly, it's very little, way under the recommended amount. Sometimes I don't even do it, just pure, clean, distilled water, because I know that I'm getting enough minerals from my smoothie, so I don't really have to worry too much about the water thing. Well, in this particular study, they just discovered, and this is what I'm trying to tell you guys, you're hearing the future here, to be honest. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I tend to be way ahead of the curve, it seems. What they discovered is by putting minerals in the smoothie, the results they got, which is not what they were looking for. So kind of like funny with scientific studies, sometimes they find something that they were not expecting. People's bone was rebuilt. And they were like, whoa, wait a second. Like, they did not expect people's bone to be rebuilding. And the reason is because when you have fiber, back to the fiber thing again, I've been trying to tell this to everybody. When you have fiber mixed with, and it's not just minerals, and minerals is part of it, but nutrients in general, but in this case, we're just talking about minerals. The body has the ability, fiber, like, I don't know how to quite describe it. I mean, I have an example, but it's not the best one, but basically the fiber with the minerals was helping the body absorb these minerals. And it was like a time release. So the fiber allowed the body, rather than, it's almost like trying to, okay, here comes a stupid example. I don't know how else to tell you guys. So let's say somebody has like a gallon of water and they just pour a gallon, you know, down your, like right on your face, and you're trying to drink as much as you can, and they're just pouring that gallon, and it doesn't take very long to pour the whole gallon, and you got a few gulps in, and that's it. So you could have a massive amount of nutrients like the water that's pouring all over your face, but if you can't drink it all, meaning absorb it all, it's a problem. Fiber is like pouring that water on a gigantic sponge, and you get to constantly suck on it, and you're obviously going to get way more water that way, like a time release. And that's what fiber appears to be doing. And what the Japanese discovered, and it's a new discovery actually about the human body that no doctor knew. Okay, this is not in medical books because this is very, very new data. We have these little pockets in our GI system apparently, and the fiber, especially for some reason, specifically the fiber from vegetables. For some reason, it's the fiber from vegetables that seems to be, dare I say, kind of the most magical. But not to say the other fibers are not important, okay? It's just this is what the data showed. The vegetables, these fiber was getting caught in these little tiny pockets, and that's why they discovered it, because what it was actually doing was basically helping regulate blood glucose all day long. This is why just eating something like processed sugar, or just kind of just pure sugar, not really paired with other things, because this is not normal. I mean, this has fibers. Fruits and vegetables can have some sugar in them, obviously, especially fruit. It has minerals, it has phytonutrients, it has antioxidants. It's like, honestly, people poo-poo a lot of this stuff, but it's like the world's perfect food almost, you know? Though there's other things that in my opinion are really important. So, anywho, that's what they discovered, and when I saw that, I thought, well, that's really interesting, because that's exactly what I was doing. Why was I doing it? So I can tell you my rationale. My rationale, the whole reason I was adding my minerals to my smoothie, which was apparently brilliant and I didn't even know it, was because in my mind, what I'm trying to create with this smoothie is I'm trying to create, like, obviously I'm putting all this food in here and all this stuff, and I'm trying to create like a multivitamin basically that happens to be in food form. That's what I'm going for here, because the body responds best for food, and I know, and my vitamin, well, so I overcome any nutritional deficiencies you see to keep my body super healthy. I did not think of all the fiber that I put in here, which has been amazing for my GI system. I didn't think it'd be regulating blood glucose per se, but adding the minerals was because I just figured, look, I know that food is deficient in minerals because we know the soils have been depleted and yada, yada, yada. So I just figured I'll just add minerals to, you know, these fruits and vegetables and whatever, thinking or hoping that somehow, since they're deficient and I'm adding the minerals, they'll kind of compensate. I didn't even think for a second, actually, that combining minerals with the fiber would help me with the mineral absorption, and boy has it. So that was the whole point, actually, is that it actually does appear to help, and it's not just with mineral absorption, which is obviously what I'm discovering, especially from my blood work, hence the reason I do it, to try to learn. And to be honest, it's not just learning, and that is a huge part of it, but it's to share it too. And when I say share it, I'm trying to, this channel, which is obviously probably not hugely popular, and it's a shoestring budget. I literally just have my iPhone on a cheap tripod, guys. But it's to try to share this information with everybody, so that way people, to be honest, it's about minimizing people's suffering. I really do hate to see people sick. I know I've seen it ruin lives. I've seen it ruin my own life, you know? And I just want people to be happy. Happiness is like my greatest currency, you know? I want people's joy, happiness, health. That's why I don't like to fight. You know, a lot of people are always wanting to fight about stuff, and, you know, you'd be surprised on certain threats that happen, and it's just, it makes me, honestly, sad. I'm like, you know what, that makes me sad. Why do people, and people are so stuck on their ideas. So some people will literally get mad. Can you believe this? People get mad at how I'm treating my body. You know, they'll get mad, you know, the way that I, you know, eat. I'm thinking, wow, you're getting upset that this is the way I eat. It's like, why would that bother you? You know, believe whatever you want to believe, and put whatever you want into your body, right? It's your body. If you want to eat, you know, whatever, eat it, you know? There's no reason to be upset with somebody else. And I really am just sharing data. And then there is one other thing that really got me to go the route that I decided to choose. But again, that one particular thing is something that I've never shared really, and I just don't think I'm going to right now. I mean, I don't know how important it is, yes, no, I don't know, but in my opinion, I just leave it out of the conversation. But it is, I will just say, in my opinion, it's a pinnacle piece of information. It's just the reason that I don't share it is because of how, I don't want to say how people will react. And yeah, a lot of people might won't even believe it, quite honestly. It's like, myself, because there might even be real people. It's like, I don't need that. I'll just stick to the data and everything. All right, here's something magical. This ingredient right here is ultra magical. It literally has almost the same amount of protein as beef, but it has a lot of other properties to it that are actually beyond beef. But let's see here. Hopefully I answered that question about the minerals and whatever. Dan says, howdy, I know this question is off topic, but why don't we lose the hydrogen from the aluminum bags with the plastic tops? I thought hydrogen would escape from anything not aluminum. Okay, well, first of all, the hydrogen will escape from those bags. All those bags are able to do, and obviously they were designed in Japan and they have tested them, is that they can hold the hydrogen in for a longer period of time. Doesn't mean you can hold them forever. So the hydrogen still will escape. That's how amazing hydrogen is anyway. This is natto, guys, in its pure form. A lot of people know about nattokinase or nattokinase, the enzyme. This is what it comes from, guys. This right here quite literally might be, well, I think it's definitely one of the top superfoods in the world. They've done so many research studies because in Japan, the Japanese are the ones who really research this stuff. Nobody really looks at this natto stuff. And what I can tell you is, yes, it's been shown to be anti-cancerous. Yes, it's shown to help oxygenate the system. Yes, it has almost as much protein as beef. yes, it appears to be able to dissolve, and I'm going to be cautious on my words here because of the whole YouTube rules, and you know, guys, I feel like we don't really have free speech anymore. So all I'll say is that it has very remarkable properties, including, and by the way, you stir it to activate it. That's the way it works. Oh, thanks for the thumbs up too, by the way, guys. In fact, I see 16 people. We should have 16 thumbs up, right? It just shows me that you guys love all this and you appreciate it. So you have to stir it to activate it. It has certain properties where the enzymes in here can dissolve certain things in the body, which is really good. You want to dissolve some of this stuff in the body. And on top of it all, here's where you have to be cautious with natto. And almost no doctor in America would know this, but in Japan, almost every doctor does know this, which is natto acts as a natural statin, which is actually a very important thing because it kind of thins the blood a little bit, which, believe it or not, is actually a good thing. Kind of like these newer cars are using these much thinner oils. And the reason it's good is it allows the blood to get in every nick and cranny. Now, when I combine it, see, this is why this is my protocol. I have the hydrogen already. Obviously, I drink the hydrogen water in the morning, so I got that going in my system, which does a lot of awesome things, opening up the ghost vessels. You should see the way it makes my blood move. What do you think happens when I combine it with something like this that makes my blood just a little bit thinner with the power of hydrogen? And then, and look, it's getting all, that's what it's supposed to do. And this is all the research, by the way. The research says you have to stir it to activate the good bacteria and whatnot. And then, with all the ingredients that are in this smoothie, which a lot of them cause the body to produce nitric oxide. And so then imagine that, opening up those blood vessels. So, and then of course you have the blueberries that I put in here, which are really good for like the vascular system. I mean, it just goes on and on. There's a method to my madness. And this may seem so simple. And honestly, I think it is. Super clean water, hydrogen, and these smoothies have done things to me still boggle the mind. Now, I'm gonna come up and answer, well, let me see if there's any other questions before I start walking here. So hopefully that answers your questions. It says, good question, and to add to that, would a metal thermos be solid alternative? No, it won't. And the reason it won't, sorry guys, I gotta go grab something, but hopefully you guys can still hear me. The reason that it won't be good enough is because the thing about the pouch, they literally had to make it flexible on purpose. Because what it does is it allows you to squeeze air out. It's like air pack. That helps a lot with keeping the hydrogen from escaping. It also keeps water sloshing around. More of one, so let's put more carrots. All right, okay, all right, guys, everybody's leaving. Thanks for checking it all out. More than anything, I hope that it's just helpful to you guys. Look at the size of that carrot. That's a big carrot right there. These I have a little more trouble with the scissors when it comes to putting this in. Research shows too, although these are organic, and organic does show to have some pesticides on it, rubbing the fruits and vegetables, like with my hands, like I'm doing right now, and just running them under conventional water, just the way I did it right there, has been shown to wash off almost 80% of any pesticides that would have been on the food. Now I know that it's never going to be perfect, which is the whole reason that I actually drink, well, it's one of the huge reasons why I drink hydrogen water, actually, because hydrogen has been shown to be so protective. You should see some of the things that the human body would not be able to endure. One of my favorite examples is a pharmaceutical cancer drug or anti-cancer drug or whatever, called cisplatin, because it is so toxic to the human body that it will destroy your kidneys. One of the reasons that most doctors don't use it, and you almost never hear about it. But you know, when push comes to shove, I guess you do something like that. The problem with it is if you do it and it destroys your kidneys, well, now you're dealing with the cancer, and now you're going to have to probably have a kidney transplant. So they just don't like to use it. It's that toxic. Well, they did do, believe it or not, a study on hydrogen with cisplatin. I was like, oh, right. And it did show how it protected the kidneys, so that you could potentially, from what it appeared like in the study, that you could literally walk away with your original kidneys. And that, my friends, is the power of hydrogen. And you know, I don't think it boggles as many people's minds as it does mine. But I mean, just think about that for a second. It's kind of like, in fact, I just worked with a patient recently. This is actually a very sad story. I don't know how much detail I want to get into it, but I'll just say that there was this person who supposedly, they have a very bad medical condition, and the reason, I can't go into certain details because, I don't know, it'll probably cause YouTube to freak out. So all I'll say is that they have a specific condition that basically is supposed to cause the liver to fail. So they told this patient, like, for sure, your liver's gonna fail, for sure. You know, turn all yellow. Excuse me. And your kidneys are also gonna fail. And you won't be able to, you know, put out urine. And probably all these things are gonna happen in 6 months or less. All I'll say is that those things did not happen. And they did not happen, not even after 6 months. They didn't even happen after a year. They didn't happen over a year. And I made sure, you know, it's like trying to really get this person to make sure to stay on the hydrogen. Of course, I tried to give them smoothies too, you know, any way that I could help. And so that was actually quite impressive, actually. I think it was kind of mind-boggling for this person's doctors. But anyway, I was actually impressed by it. I was like, wow. So hydrogen's literally that cool, guys. It's that cool. Well, in my opinion it is, right? Just my opinion. Nothing special, just me. Anybody can do whatever they want, right? You got free will, free choice. Kind of, right? I mean, it's actually these days, I feel like do we have a lot of freedom these days? I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't get into that topic. I'll just say that I guess you have the freedom to kind of eat whatever you want, kind of, right? I guess you got that. If you want to eat beef every day, all day, go for it. If you want to eat pork every day, all day, go for it. Or if you want to eat nothing but vegetables all day, I guess go for it. I mean, good or bad, I mean, I guess you could eat Twinkies all day long too. McDonald's burgers, whatever. Got free choice, people. It's your body. It's your temple. You do what you want. Look at that, I need to turn it too. Okay, guys, so now I'm almost done. You tell me if you think this thing will blend. And we're gonna try to blend it here. And then I'll sit down and drink it, and while I drink, I will answer some of your questions. And if you want, I'll grab my laptop to go over the nitric oxide if you really want to. And there's one other thing. Oh yeah, there's 2 ingredients that I'm missing that are highly, highly, not only nutritious, in my opinion, you absolutely need them in order to be healthy. They're just, in my opinion, well, at least one of them, ultra necessity for the human body. So let's see if this thing will blend, shall we? It looks like it's trying. Let's see here. Somebody asked. We could hear you. Missed all of that. Laugh out loud. Can't hear you. Oh, good question. Okay. And then where can we get natto? Mushrooms too. do not have the package. You ask anybody at the store, hey, do you guys have natto? It's in the freezer. I will tell you that. And we're ready to roll. Oh no, this thing is dirty. Give me a second. And you know, I'd like to let the blender run while I'm doing things, but to be honest, lately that top just pops off and then smoothie gets everywhere. So I take my hands off, let it kind of settle to the bottom where the blades are. Kind of got the smoothie technique down, I think. I mean, I've been doing it for so long that I figured out even the order in which to put the ingredients. And look, just so you know, you can modify. People are always asking, what's the recipe? I don't even consider it a recipe. You can obviously just watch what I put in. There is no specific amounts. I just kind of eyeball everything and throw stuff in. But I feel like, you know, I do these live so people can see. I've done other videos where they're not live and just show you. Your dog's dementia. That's amazing. You know, hydrogen is pretty amazing. Okay, this actually looks a little thick. It does look thick. You know what that means, guys? I'll show you what that means. That means, maybe that's why it wasn't blending so perfectly well. I'm going to show you the last couple magic ingredients, but I'm going to add a little more carbon distilled super clean water to this. A lot of times I do hydrogen, but it's not totally necessary. I already drank the hydrogen, and I'm going to start doing my inhalations again soon here while I eat. Absolute magic ingredient. I say magic ingredient. The research on this, originally there was very little data. The top doctor in the world that actually researches this made some amazing discoveries of how important this is. Like, we know about this, but it's so difficult to get in your body, and that's ionic D3K2. I like its ionic form. And let's go ahead and put some in here. Not putting much because my levels are already really good, so I don't really need to like try to play catch up. And then let me take this over here, and I'm going to show you the other final ingredient I'm going to put in here, and then I can answer a few questions, and then I'll let you guys go. Okay, let's see. I'm going to definitely have to unplug this. Love's such a beautiful thing. I was listening to the Bee Gees today. Another song is stuck in my head. Okay, and you know what? I might even be able to take out my earpiece too. Okay, yeah, let's take it out. See if you guys can still hear me. All right. Okay, the last magic ingredient, really a phenomenal ingredient, is hemp hearts. Now, unfortunately, apparently it makes some people test positive on it on certain drug tests, but why do I put hemp hearts? Well, numerous reasons, really. Extremely high amount of super well-balanced protein. It might literally be the most well-balanced protein in the world. And what I mean by that, omega-3s and 6s. But also, so yeah, a lot of protein and it's well-balanced. And then if you look at the nutritional content on it, it looks like a multivitamin. It's so unbelievably nutritious. And if you look at the ingredient, or the only ingredient in it is organic hemp hearts or hemp seeds. That's it. That's how crazy it is. It's a very simple ingredient, though it's a little spendy, but especially for the organic one, but it's so good. How did it come out today? It's pretty good. Kind of feels like I could have one more banana. I might even do that. But I'll just answer you guys' questions and then we'll go from there. So yeah, where is it at? Probably in the freezer. I don't know if it's near kimchi though. In the freezer. I don't think they usually put natto in the freezer. Or I'm sorry, kimchi in the freezer. But natto is in the freezer. Or at least it should be. Because that's how you keep all the good bacteria alive. Because the food's alive. And that is a key to health too, by the way, live food. Really fresh, really alive. Okay. I think it's great that you reverse your dog's dementia. Wow. Hydrogen. That's good. Okay, well, this is pretty delicious. Thanks for all the thumbs up. I don't know. Oh, by the way, I mean, I was gonna do a video on this about how to improve your liver health. And hydrogen is amazing for the liver, but I also found this to be extremely helpful. One of my doctor friends told me about it, and I not only saw the research, I actually knew a patient that tried it, and it's called TUDCA plus NAC. This stuff has been remarkable for the liver. I'm really impressed. What store for the natto? I'm not trying to be rude, but I don't even know what state you're in. If you think I know every store in every state, or maybe even all over the world, all I can tell you is you can probably look like for a Japanese store, maybe a Korean food store, maybe even Chinese food store in your area, obviously. If you have any last questions, this might be a good time because I think I'm going to add one more banana to this smoothie. It just kind of feels like it needs it. Give me 1 second. It's a good time to type in any questions that you might have because, I don't know, maybe 5 more minutes I have, maybe less. So, okay. One more banana. And you know what? Maybe even a little bit more water. I have all these glass jugs full of my clean water. Let's try this again. Probably blend a lot better. Okay, real quick, here we go. Then I'll answer any more last questions. That sounded easy. Like that. I'm still thick. Hopefully that helps. Alright guys, I got less than 5 minutes I think. TUDCA. Okay guys, last questions. Otherwise I'm gonna let you go. Because this is just, again, this is part of my morning routine. Today's kind of one of those lazy days. I am gonna eat a few. What will I do here? I'll probably do this one first. The TUDCA is supposed to be, I think, with food in your stomach. I'll do a few apricot seeds. I tend to eat these here and there. B17 Leotril, you can read about it. I did a video about it. The science is good. Kind of interesting though. They said that it wasn't effective for cancer, but I read the research and it kind of showed that it was, except the weird thing about the research was they said you'd have to keep taking it. And I'm thinking, okay, I'll just keep taking it. I mean, they're just apricot seeds. They just kind of, they actually taste like almonds. Just a little bitter. Carolyn says, thank you. Oh, well, thank you. That's very nice. Tommy, you're very welcome. Have a great weekend, everyone. All right, bye, Carol. Carol Lynn. All right, like I said, guys, I'm going to say goodbye here in a second. Unless you want me to go grab my laptop and talk about all the nitric oxide ingredients in there. They're not nitric oxide ingredients. They get the body to be able to produce. It helps the body produce nitric oxide, which is the best way to do it. Just like same thing with glutathione. It's good to take in things that get your body to produce it. That's why I'm so big on overcoming nutritional deficiencies and minerals, so that the body can do what it's supposed to do on its own. So, okay. If there's no other questions, I'll let you guys go. Okay? Still 13 people in here, 14 thumbs up. But I don't see any questions, so I'll give you guys maybe 30 more seconds. If there's no questions, I'm going to let you guys go. I would be curious how that one person got their dog on hydrogen gas. Was the dog good enough to just sit there and they could put the cannula in its nose? Dan says, thank you, take care. You too, Dan. I do have a funny story, I guess, since I'm killing time right now. So I went to a restaurant yesterday, and I don't know why some people commented to me. It was kind of funny. They were talking about my. No, I shouldn't even bring it up. Now that I think about it, because it's never mind. I won't say it. It's all good. But it was funny. I'm gonna say goodbye now. Nobody seems to have any questions. Thanks for watching. Till next time, guys.